There's a version of creator success that looks like growth from the outside. It feels like a trap from the inside. You're making real money. You're reinvesting production quality, team, equipment, merch drops. The business is getting better. The revenue is growing. And somehow you're not getting ahead. That's the reinvestment trap. It's the financial structure underneath that feeling. It's close to universal for full-time creators at the $100,000 to $500,000 tier. Here's how the numbers work. At 400K gross, 2 deductions hit before you see $1 of personal income. Taxes take roughly 35 to 37%. That's somewhere between $140,000 and $148,000 gone first. What remains is approximately $252,000 to $260,000 net. From that net, a significant portion goes back into the business. For many full-time creators, that's 50 to 70% of net, sometimes more. Editors, thumbnail designers, equipment, software subscriptions, merch inventory. These aren't optional. They're the cost of maintaining the output level that generates the revenue. The business doesn't run without them. Stop reinvesting and the channel degrades. Keep reinvesting and you stay on the treadmill. After taxes and reinvestment, real monthly income lands between $6,500 and $10,000. On 400K gross, that math isn't wrong. It's just invisible until someone writes it down. But here's the mechanism that keeps you stuck. Reinvestment spending scales with revenue. At 150K gross, you spent 40K on the business. That's roughly 27% of gross kept. At 400K gross, you spend 180K. You're keeping roughly 25%. The revenue went up 167%. The kept ratio went down. The absolute dollar amounts grow. The proportion you keep stays flat or shrinks. Every dollar of new revenue is instantly claimed by the bigger operation that new revenue requires. This is why the treadmill gets faster the harder you run. More revenue justifies a better camera, a bigger team, a more complex merch operation. The spending follows automatically. The gap between what you earn and what you keep barely moves. You're not making progress. You're maintaining a higher cost operation at the same margin. The question nobody asks early enough. At what point does reinvestment stop being growth and start being maintenance? There's no universal answer. It depends on your content type, your competitive set, your growth stage. But the question itself is worth asking explicitly, because most creators never do. They reinvest because it feels like the responsible move. It is. The problem isn't reinvesting. It's reinvesting without ever defining what enough looks like, without tracking whether the ratio is moving in their direction. 2 things change the trajectory. First, know your reinvestment rate, not estimate it. Know it. Pull last year's business expenses from your accounting software or bank statements. Divide by your net income after taxes. That single number is your current reinvestment rate. If it's 60%, that's the number to interrogate. If you've never calculated it, you've been making a major financial decision without knowing the key variable. Most creators at $300,000 to $400,000 gross have no idea whether that number is 40%, 60%, or 80%. Second, separate growth spending from maintenance spending. Some reinvestment expands capability. Hiring your first editor, upgrading to a better camera, building out a merch operation. Those compound. They generate more revenue or more margin per dollar in. Some reinvestment just maintains what you already have, renewing the same subscriptions, replacing equipment that broke, paying an editor to hold your current upload pace. Those don't compound, they hold the status quo. Most creators have a mix of both. Most treat them identically. The invoices go to the same expense category. They feel like the same kind of business decision. They're not. Growth spending compounds. Maintenance spending doesn't. And you can't shift the ratio without knowing which is which. Knowing which category each dollar falls into is the difference between a reinvestment strategy and a spending habit. The goal isn't to stop reinvesting. It's to reinvest with intention. Know what each dollar is buying, know whether it's growth or maintenance, know whether the ratio is trending toward more retained income or holding flat indefinitely. This is general education. Your specific numbers depend on your business structure, content type, and income mix. A CPA who works with creators can model what a sustainable reinvestment rate looks like at your income level. The starting point is the honest calculation. Gross minus taxes minus actual reinvestment divided by 12. Write down the reinvestment line specifically, not as a number to minimize, as a rate to understand. That rate tells you where you are in the trap. It tells you whether you're actually building towards something or running the same treadmill at a higher speed. That question has a number attached to it. What was last year's reinvestment in absolute dollars? Could the business sustain that level of spending while revenue grows? If yes, the extra revenue starts staying. That's how the ratio moves. That's how you get off the treadmill without stopping the machine. Bring one question to your next planning session. What would it look like to hold reinvestment at last year's dollar amount while revenue grows?